Hello everyone. Tell me, have you ever been in a room with a woman and felt something electric? A tension you couldn't quite name. Her glance lingers a second longer. Her laughter is a little warmer. Her body language shifts when you enter. You're not imagining it, but you're also not sure. Is it chemistry? Is it coincidence? Or is it something deeper, something more primal? As we grow older, especially after 30, we begin to crave clarity in our connections. We don't want to chase shadows. We want real intimacy, real desire, something that feels certain and mutual. But modern relationships are full of subtle cues and unspoken invitations, especially when it comes to attraction. So how can you tell genuinely when a woman is drawn to you, not just emotionally, but sexually? This isn't about manipulation. It's not about playing games. This is about learning how to read the signs of desire that women often communicate through silence, through glance, through touch. When you understand these signs, you no longer second guess yourself. You move through the world with calm confidence, able to recognize when she truly wants you. So stay with me, because what I'm about to share could change the way you see every interaction. From casual conversations to moments that could ignite into something unforgettable. Have you ever sat across from someone and felt something stirring in the space between you, something quiet but unmistakably alive, a magnetic pull, not quite verbalized, yet powerful enough to make your breath slow and your senses sharpen? That is the beginning of desire. And for many men, especially those in their 30s and beyond, there's a yearning for not just connection, but clarity, the kind of clarity that says, she's into me, she wants me, I don't need to guess anymore. Desire, you see, is rarely loud. It's a whisper more than a scream. It's encoded in moments that slip past most people because they haven't been taught how to look, or rather, how to feel. Most men are conditioned to act, to chase, to pursue. But what if you learned how to receive attention instead of just giving it? What if you understood the subtle language that women speak when they're drawn to you, physically, intimately, sexually? This conversation isn't about scoring or seducing. It's about learning to recognize energy, to tune into nuance. Because a woman who desires you won't always say it with words. She'll say it with presence. She'll say it with her nervous laughter, with the way she leans in when there's no need to, with the way her eyes scan your mouth when you speak, as if she's already imagining the taste of you. Let me take you into one of the most overlooked signs first, her comfort with proximity. I'm not talking about a casual bump in a crowded hallway. I'm talking about when she deliberately enters your physical space and lingers there. She chooses the seat next to you, even when others are available. She leans her body toward yours during a conversation. Her knees point at you. Her torso opens, not closes. She's not just being friendly. She's feeling something. And here's the secret most men miss. Women are exquisitely attuned to their own bodily comfort and safety. When a woman positions herself close to you, when she touches your arm while talking, or brushes your leg with hers under the table, it's not accidental. Her body is speaking. Her body is asking, do you feel this too? But here's the twist. Women often speak in plausible deniability. They want the invitation to feel organic. She might reach to fix your collar under the guise of helping, or let her fingers linger a beat too long as she hands you a glass. These moments aren't logistical, they're intentional. She's creating excuses to be close, without risking rejection. And if you're too numb, too distracted, or too insecure to notice, the moment passes. She retracts, the heat cools, and then there's eye contact. Not just a casual glance, but the kind of gaze that holds, that lingers just long enough to say, I see you, and maybe, I want you. Eye contact is one of the most direct ways a woman will express attraction, especially when words feel too vulnerable. If she keeps returning to your eyes throughout the conversation, if her pupils dilate, if her eyebrows soften, and she seems entranced when you speak, that's not just interest, that's sexual attention. But it's more than that. Sometimes it's the way she breaks the eye contact too. That bashful smile, that glance down to your chest or lips, that little inhale like she's catching herself from falling into you too fast. In those moments, she's not just looking, she's feeling, she's imagining, she's allowing her mind to flirt before her mouth ever does. And here's where many men misunderstand. They think signs of attraction are about performance, her laughing at every joke, her complimenting your shirt, her playing with her hair. But attraction, real sexual attraction, isn't always performative. It's vulnerable. It's subconscious. It's in the way she mirrors your movements, the way her breath syncs with yours, the way she finds little excuses to keep you around, asking for your opinion, laughing a little longer than necessary, looking back one last time before she walks away. You have to slow down to feel these things. You have to get out of your head and into the moment. Because desire doesn't scream, it whispers. And if you're too busy trying to impress her, you'll miss the very signs she's giving you, signs that say, come closer, I want you here. I've spoken to so many men who feel confused, wondering why one encounter felt so electric, so alive, only for it to disappear the next day. They ask, was I imagining it? Did I misread the signs? And the truth is, sometimes yes, but most of the time they didn't misread the signs. They missed the moment. They didn't respond when she leaned in. They stayed stiff when she brushed their hand. They kept talking about work or traffic instead of slowing down and letting the tension breathe. Because that's what she wants. Not just your attention, but your awareness, your presence, your emotional intelligence, to feel that you're not just a body, but a man who can feel her body reaching for you. And when you meet her there, in the space between comfort and curiosity, that's where connection ignites. So when she lingers near you, when she holds your gaze just a moment too long, when her touch feels like an unfinished sentence, she's not just being friendly, she's giving you an opening. And how you respond will either build the moment or break the spell, because intimacy begins long before the bedroom. It starts with energy, with awareness, with learning how to read her silence as clearly as her woman's. There's a certain moment, so subtle most men miss it, when a woman begins to show you her more sensual self, not in words, not in clothes, but in energy. And it happens most often when she feels emotionally safe enough to become physically expressive. Because for many women, sexual desire is not just about arousal, it's about trust. It's about feeling seen, felt, and wanted for who she is, not just what she offers. Let's talk about her voice. Not the pitch or the accent. I mean the way her voice begins to shift around you. Have you noticed that when you're deep in conversation and suddenly her tone softens, it lowers, slows down, it starts to feel like a warm current rather than a quick exchange? That's not coincidence, it's biology. When a woman desires you, her parasympathetic nervous system engages. Her speech pattern becomes more fluid, more rhythmical, almost musical. There's a sultriness that enters her words, not forced but felt. She might start elongating her vowels, laughing in a way that feels lush, intimate, almost private. It's as if the words are no longer just for communication, they're for connection. Her voice becomes a kind of touch, and you feel it in your gut, in your skin, in your breath. And then there's the way she talks about intimacy, not directly, but playfully. She starts dropping hints. She teases just a little. She makes suggestive comments, maybe about your colon, your hands, the way you move. But pay attention to this. It's not crude. It's not overt. It's wrapped in laughter, in curiosity, in innuendo. She's flirting not just with her words, but with your imagination. This is where emotional intelligence becomes your greatest asset. Because a woman who wants to sleep with you may never say it explicitly, but she'll test the waters. She'll float little fantasies into the air, wrapped in humor, wrapped in possibility. And she's watching, not for your approval, but for your readiness. She wants to know, can he hold this kind of intimacy without rushing it, without cheapening it? Because here's the truth most men never hear. For many women, the desire to sleep with a man isn't just about physical craving. It's about emotional safety. It's about whether you can handle her desire without reducing her to it. If she senses that your hunger will devour her identity, she'll retreat. But if she feels that you can hold space for her sensuality with maturity, with reverence, with presence, then she'll open. And you'll know she's opening when she starts revealing parts of herself that aren't about sex, but are deeply sensual. She tells you about the music she listens to when she's alone, the way she runs her bath at night, the scent she wears to bed. These are not random confessions. These are invitations. She's painting a picture of herself in moments of solitude and asking, can you imagine yourself there with me? She doesn't need to spell it out. The subtext is louder than words. It's in the details. It's in the way she describes the silk of her robe, the candle on her nightstand, the late night thoughts that keep her awake. She's giving you a preview, not of the act, but of the intimacy. And if you respond with curiosity, if you mirror her openness, if you meet her there, not to conquer, but to connect, then the desire deepens. But there's one more signal, so deeply feminine, so rooted in vulnerability, that it often goes unnoticed. It's when she shares something personal, something real, a story about her past, a fear, a longing, a disappointment in love. You might not think this is connected to sex, but it is. Because for a woman to let you into her bed, she often has to first let you into her heart. And here's the part most men miss: when she gets vulnerable with you, it's not because she's trying to bond, it's because she's feeling something. She's emotionally aroused, and when emotional arousal builds, it often spills into physical desire. But only if it feels mutual. Only if you make her feel safe enough to stay open. Only if you don't minimize or fix her feelings, but simply witness them, hold them, breathe with them. When you do this, when you hold her emotional nakedness with grace, her physical desire for you will multiply. Because now you're not just a man, you're her man, the one who didn't flinch when she got real, the one who didn't shut down or pull away. And that kind of connection, that's rare, that's magnetic, that's irresistible. So when she tells you about the way she never felt truly desired in her last relationship, or the way she longs to be kissed slowly, not as an afterthought, but as a beginning, listen. She's not just telling you a story, she's telling you a need, a fantasy, a longing, and you, in that moment, have the power to either honor it or miss it. Women want to be chosen not for how well they perform, but for how deeply they're understood. And when you meet a woman in that space, when you show her that you see her not as a conquest, but as a complex, beautiful, feeling human being, she won't just want to talk to you, she'll want to touch you. to explore you, to invite you into the most sacred spaces of her body, yes, but also of her soul. This is not about tactics. It's not about strategy. It's about presence. It's about tuning in to what most men are too distracted or too afraid to notice. And when you do, when you allow yourself to slow down, to feel, to be curious rather than certain, you'll start seeing things differently. You'll stop chasing signs. You'll start recognizing them. You'll stop needing proof. You'll start trusting your intuition. Because the woman who wants to sleep with you is already showing you, not in one loud moment, but in 1,000 quiet ones, in her gaze, her voice, her vulnerability, her laughter, her touch, all of it leading you not just toward her body, but into a shared space where trust, desire, and intimacy become one. There's a moment, so subtle it could pass like a soft breeze, when a woman no longer tries to impress you, she simply wants to be with you. That shift from performance to presence is where real intimacy begins. And if you're paying attention, you'll notice it. It's in the stillness, in the quiet moments between laughter and longing, in the way she lets herself relax around you. That's the next sign most men never notice: her ease, her surrender into the moment. When a woman wants you truly, deeply, physically, her energy shifts from presentation to embodiment. She stops curating every movement. She stops monitoring every word. Her guard softens. Her shoulders loosen. Her breath becomes fuller. She starts to enjoy you, not just entertain you. And that, my dear, is no small thing, because a woman can smile and flirt and play all day. But when she begins to feel safe in your presence, when she feels she doesn't need to perform her femininity for you, that's when she begins to lean in. That's when her body starts whispering a much louder truth. I want to let go with you. I want to be free with you. You might see her kicking off her shoes as she tucks her feet under her on the couch. You might hear her voice grow quieter, more melodic, as if the conversation has shifted into a private world just between you two. And then there's touch, so natural, so unforced, it feels like breathing. Her hand brushes yours and doesn't pull back. Her fingers linger when you pass her something. Her leg presses against yours and stays. These are not accidental. These are anchoring. It's her body's way of saying, I feel safe. I feel seen. I feel pulled to you. Not out of obligation or politeness, but out of raw, instinctual chemistry. Now comes the most tender of signs. And this one. It's not found in the sparks. It's in the silence. It's when a woman starts to mirror your emotions, not just your gestures. She listens to your stories and responds not just with words, but with resonance. When you tell her something personal and you see her eyes well up, or when she leans in closer and says, I know what that feels like. That's not just empathy. That's intimacy. Because when a woman mirrors your inner world, she's making space for something more than connection. She's opening the door to emotional nakedness. And very often, when that door opens, desire follows, quietly. Naturally, almost inevitably. That's the difference between attraction and intimacy. One is visual, the other is visceral. She starts asking you questions that go beyond surface. Not, what do you do? But, what makes you feel alive? Not, where are you from? But, what does home feel like to you? She's not asking to pass time. She's asking to feel you, to know the man beneath the mask. And as you reveal yourself, when you speak without armor, without bravado, she leans in, her pupils dilate, her lips part slightly. She nods not just because she hears you, but because she feels you. And then, something remarkable happens. She starts to initiate. She finds reasons to see you again. She reaches out. She texts you something funny from earlier. She sends you a song that made her think of you. She remembers small details you forgot you shared. This is not casual. This is not routine. This is a woman building a bridge toward intimacy, toward you with quiet intention. And when she begins to initiate physical closeness, when she asks for a hug that lasts just a little longer, when she places her hand on your chest during a laugh, when she rests her head briefly on your shoulder, you're no longer wondering if she's attracted. You're witnessing her invitation. And here's what's important: the difference between manipulation and maturity is your response. Because when she offers you her softness, it's not a challenge, it's a gift. One that many men fumble because they've been taught that sexual moments must be taken, not received. But intimacy, true intimacy, is a dance. It's a rhythm. She steps closer and waits for you to match her energy, not dominate it. So if you rush it, if you try to escalate too quickly, the magic dissolves. But if you stay in the tension, if you meet her with presence, if you show her that you can hold that space, not just physically but emotionally, then desire grows, it builds, it becomes undeniable. Because the woman who wants to sleep with you, she's not waiting for a pickup line. She's waiting for a moment of recognition. A moment where she feels safe, seen, and desired all at once. And when you give her that, she opens her body, her breath, her passion. But you must be present enough to notice it, mature enough to honor it, and grounded enough not to chase it, but to meet it with warmth and intention. And when you do, it won't feel like conquest. It'll feel like home. When a woman desires you truly, vulnerably, deeply, it rarely looks like it does in movies. It's not always fiery or loud. Sometimes it's quiet, subtle, sacred. It happens in those spaces between words, between glances, between breaths. And most men, if they're not paying attention, if they're looking for fireworks instead of warmth, will miss it completely. But the man who notices, the man who feels, becomes unforgettable. Because here's the final sign, the most intimate, the most undeniable. When a woman wants to sleep with you, not out of obligation, not to fill a void, but because she wants you, she doesn't just become more affectionate, she becomes more open. Not just her body, her entire being. You'll see it in the way she allows you to see her without the social mask. Her edges soften. She stops trying to impress and starts letting you in. She shows you the parts of her that are unpolished, unfiltered. She lets you witness her in her natural state. No more lipstick, no more perfect lighting, just her raw, present, unguarded. She tells you about her fears, her heartbreaks, her childhood dreams. She trusts you with her past, her body, her mood, her silence. And that level of intimacy, that's not just sexual chemistry, that's embodied connection. That's the energy of a woman saying, I want to be close to you, not just for pleasure, but for presence, for peace, for something real. You'll notice her not just talking to you, but nesting emotionally around you. She touches your face during a conversation. She straightens your shirt collar. She starts to make gentle observations about your habits, your routines, your quirks, not to criticize, but because she's already mentally beginning to merge, to imagine what it would be like to be close to you fully. And this is where so many men fall short, not because they lack desire, but because they don't know how to hold this depth without either rushing it or fearing it. You see, when a woman is in this space with you, when she has signaled, subtly but surely, that she desires you, it becomes less about getting her and more about meeting her. She's not looking for you to take the next step like a transaction. She's waiting to feel your emotional presence. She wants to know that if she undresses her body, she won't have to clothe her soul, because the moment a woman senses you cannot hold her truth, her heat, her rhythm, she closes. It might not be immediate, but something shifts. She becomes careful, polite, distant. And she'll disappear not because you weren't attractive, but because you weren't attuned. This is what mature men understand. Desire isn't just about what you want. It's about what you can hold. And a woman who wants to sleep with you will test that. She'll create moments of emotional closeness. She'll invite you into her emotional skin. She'll let the tension build. Not as a game, but as a question. Are you here with me? Are you real? Can you see me and still want me? Not just for what I offer, but for who I am. If you can answer that question with presence, with patience, with touch that honors rather than conquers, then the experience won't just be physical. It will be expansive, transformative. The kind of connection that leaves her remembering not just how you made her feel, but how deeply you saw her. And that's the difference between sex and sacred touch, between intimacy and interaction, between being a man who chases validation and one who cultivates real connection. So let's breathe this in. All the signs we've spoken about, her proximity, her gaze, her playful teasing, her emotional vulnerability, her initiation, her openness, they're not random behaviors. They are a symphony, a sequence of signals a woman offers when she's beginning to trust you with her most tender self. But this isn't about collecting clues. It's about slowing down. It's about quieting your need to impress and tuning into your capacity to receive. Because women don't just want a man who desires them. They want a man who can feel them, who can read the room and the body and the breath without being told. This is your power, not in chasing, not in proving, but in witnessing, in staying emotionally present long enough for a woman to feel safe enough to express her desire. Not because you asked, not because you earned it, but because you made her feel held. And when you show up like that, when you become that man, everything changes. You no longer wonder, is she into me? You start to sense it. You stop needing confirmation. You feel the shift, the stillness, the draw, and you trust it. So if you've ever doubted your ability to attract the kind of woman who looks at you with longing in her eyes and invitation in her voice, know this: you already have what it takes. What you need now is not technique. It's attention, it's depth, it's emotional maturity, the courage to slow down and feel. And the women who meet you in that space, they will not just want to sleep with you. They'll want to stay with you, wake up next to you, explore life beside you, because they've found a man who knows how to be present, not just in the bed, but in the relationship. So here's to you, the man who's willing to feel, to notice, to listen, the man who honors a woman's body not as a prize, but as a landscape of connection, the man who can sense the difference between flirty noise and the quiet pull of true desire. You don't need to chase women. You need to learn to notice them, to create spaces where they feel safe to show up sensually and fully. And when you do that, you'll no longer be asking, is she attracted to me? You'll be experiencing it in every glance, every touch, every breath. So go gently, go confidently, and above all, go with presence. And if this conversation stirred something in you, I invite you to share that in the comments below. What have you noticed in your own life? Which moments of desire did you feel but not understand until now? If you found value here, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel. This space is for grown men, curious, courageous, ready to feel more, love better, and show up with emotional intelligence in every relationship. Because when we understand desire, not as a mystery to solve, but as a language to learn, everything changes, and we begin to live love and connect with depth, maturity, and unshakable confidence. Here's to you, to the men who are learning to see, to the women who are waiting to be seen, and to the moments that change everything.